Imagine a world where sunlight never reaches, where the pressure could crush a submarine like a tin can, and creatures glow in the dark to survive. This isn't science fiction, it's the deep ocean, Earth's final frontier. For centuries we knew less about these depths than we did about the surface of the moon. Then, in 1872, a converted warship named HMS Challenger set out to change that. What they discovered would rewrite science forever. Picture a world where your body would be crushed instantly, where sunlight doesn't penetrate, and temperatures hover just above freezing. This is the deep ocean, where the weight of water above creates pressures exceeding 1,000 atmospheres. To put that in perspective, it's like having 50 jumbo jets stacked on top of you. There's no dawn or dusk here, just permanent midnight, starting about 200 meters down. This darkness is so complete that creatures invented their own light. Nearly 90% of deep-sea species produce bioluminescence. Some flash to attract mates. Others use glowing lures to catch prey. A few even squirt bursts of light to confuse predators like underwater fireworks. Early scientists thought differently about these depths. In 1843, Edward Forbes proposed the azoic theory, claiming no life could exist below 300 fathoms, about 550 meters. It made sense. Without sunlight for photosynthesis, how could ecosystems survive? Ocean trenches were labeled barren wastes in textbooks. This wasn't arrogance so much as logistics. The technology simply didn't exist to prove otherwise. Consider what exploration required. Lights strong enough to pierce the darkness. Metal strong enough to resist crushing pressures. Equipment capable of scooping specimens from the seabed without disintegrating. And all of this had to work while suspended from a rope that might snap under its own weight during retrieval. Yet even with these obstacles, clues occasionally surfaced. Literally, fishermen sometimes hauled up deep water creatures with grotesque adaptations. Huge eyes, transparent bodies, fang-like teeth. These weren't monsters, just animals perfectly adapted to conditions humans couldn't endure. One specimen, a sea devil, anglerfish, had jaws that unhinged to swallow prey larger than itself. By the 1850s, dredging operations proved Forbes wrong by pulling up odd crabs and worms from 600 meters. But these were accidental discoveries. No one had systematically studied the deep until the Challenger expedition set sail in 1872. Here's what made the deep ocean Earth's last frontier. It wasn't just about distance, like climbing Everest or reaching the poles. It was about inventing entirely new ways to observe an environment fundamentally hostile to human existence. Every sample required reinventing technology. Every measurement demanded new methods. The discoveries waiting below would force scientists to reconsider what life even meant. For thousands of years, the deep ocean existed only in stories. Ancient sailors spoke of the Leviathan, a monstrous sea serpent coiled in the blackness. Norse legends warned of the Kraken, whose tentacles could drag ships beneath the waves. These weren't just tall tales. They were attempts to explain real phenomena. When sailors saw giant squid tentacles wash ashore or heard mysterious booming sounds from the depths, monsters filled the knowledge gap. A leader shacking parts hien. The first attempts at measurement were crude but clever. In 330 BCE, Alexander the Great allegedly descended in a glass diving bell to observe sea life. By the 1500s, sailors used lead-weighted lines to measure depth, letting out rope until the weight hit bottom. These sounding lines often came up draped in strange creatures or coated with odd sediments. But imagination still outpaced evidence. Maps from this era labeled uncharted waters with illustrations of sea dragons, Avura-Pordian, Lowingston. The real turning point came in Victorian England. Naturalists started questioning myths when dredges hauled up deep-sea organisms from 600 meters down. Charles Wyville Thompson noticed something peculiar. The deeper the dredge went, the more primitive the life forms appeared. This sparked the radical idea that the deep ocean might be a living fossil archive. But Thompson needed better data than occasional fishermen's catches. D'Ernay enter HMS Challenger in 1872. The British Navy lent a 69-meter warship, stripping its guns to make room for laboratories. For the first time, scientists had a mobile research station equipped with thermometers, dredges, and miles of hemp rope. They standardized methods too, recording water temperature at specific depths, cataloging every specimen pulled up, even documenting the ocean's color changes with depth. Stream rate Burks. This wasn't about conquering nature anymore. It was about listening to it. The Challenger team logged 4,700 new species, proving life thrived even in the deepest trenches. They mapped underwater mountains and discovered the Marianas Trench's staggering depth. Most importantly, they replaced monsters with measurements, exchanging Kraken stories for hard data, notebooks crammed with salinity readings and specimen sketches. Opponents from Salo. Of course, the ocean didn't give up its secrets easily. Each depth measurement required hours of lowering equipment by hand. Dredges often returned empty or shredded by rocks, and no one yet understood how creatures survived the crushing pressure. But for the first time, humanity had a systematic way to ask the deep ocean questions and get actual answers. The Challenger expedition proved something fundamental, not just about the ocean, but how we understand our planet. By meticulously recording temperatures, species, and depths, they transformed guesswork into science. Those handwritten logs became the foundation of oceanography. Yet even now, we've explored less than 20% of the seafloor. Next time you're near the ocean, consider this. Beneath those waves, creatures glow in perpetual darkness. Hydrothermal vents spew mineral-rich plumes that sustain entire ecosystems. The deep operates on timescales we can barely grasp. It doesn't care if we observe it or not. The currents shift, the vents bubble, life adapts. The real lesson: some mysteries don't need solving to be wondrous.